CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts and Lisa Collin for supporting the channel and being amazing members. So if you enjoy what you hear tonight, you're in the right place. Now, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. What kind of story hits you the hardest? The ones that feel too real, or the ones that could actually happen to someone you know? I summoned a dark web user who claims to be a demon. He has a terrifying story to tell. Okay, so this isn't clickbait, and I'm not trying to freak anyone out with one of those creepypasta TikTok challenges or whatever. This actually happened to me. And yeah, it started the way a lot of dumb internet horror stories start. I got curious, but I swear, what I found wasn't just messed up. It felt alive. I'm not some hacker prodigy or tech god. I'm just a 20-year-old community college student who works part-time at a McDonald's in Portland. I live in this tiny studio above a boba place, and I spend way too much time online. You know how it is. Late night YouTube rabbit holes, scrolling Reddit until your eyes burn, Twitter drama spirals. All that, it started one of those nights. One of those weird, foggy 3 a.m.s where everything feels a little off and way too quiet. I was watching this animated horror video on YouTube, one of those dark web horror compilation channels with the weird AI voice narrators, and someone in the comments mentioned something I hadn't heard of before. They said, if you really want to see hell, forget red rooms and go look for Black Pope, but don't search it. Wait for it to find you. That instantly messed with my head. Like, what? It sounded fake, like some ARG creepypasta lore that got buried under Argus/no sleep threads. I googled Black Pope dark web and got nothing legit, just 4chan posts and some bootleg YouTubers making over-the-top clickbait videos with terrible red fonts and fire emojis. So I let it go. But 2 days later, someone DM'd me on Be Real. Be Real. I didn't even know you could get DMs there. It was a photo, just black, like pitch black. But if you turned up the brightness, there was something in the corner, like a hand or a claw. I couldn't tell. The caption was just, "Hello, you've been invited." I blocked the account immediately, obviously, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I went back to Reddit, to the same thread. That comment about Black Pope, gone. Straight up deleted, but not by the user, by a mod. When I clicked their name, it said, user no longer exists. Like, full on scrubbed. Even the Wayback Machine gave me nothing. You ever feel like the internet's watching you back? Yeah, that was me. The next weird thing happened when I was at work. It was a boring Tuesday shift, rainy. No customers. I was wiping down tables near the drive-through window when this old black Escalade pulled up. Windows tinted jet black, and I swear to God, no one ordered anything. The window didn't roll down. No music, no engine hum. Just parked there, idling, watching me. My manager, Alex, came over like, "Hey, go tell them they gotta order or move." I didn't want to, but I did. I walked up to the window and said, "Hey, you guys gonna order?" No one answered, but the back window rolled down just a crack, like not enough to see inside, just enough to slip a folded note through. They handed it to me, and the window rolled back up. Slowly I opened it, and my stomach dropped. It said, "You accepted the invitation." I looked up. The Escalade was gone. Not driving off, Not pulling away, just gone, like it vanished. My coworker Jake said he didn't see anything. No car, no noise, nothing. But I swear it happened. I still had the note. Later that night, I tried to act normal. I hopped on Discord, watched some YouTube, played a little Fortnite to clear my head. Around 2 a.m., I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. blackpope@tallmail.zone. Subject, meeting confirmed. The body of the email just said, November 10th, 4:44 a.m. You will receive the first story. Do not ignore it. IP trace blocked. Return not possible. I didn't reply. I didn't even breathe. I just stared at the screen for like 10 minutes. Then my screen went black. Not like crashed, just black. My cursor still moved. It wasn't a shutdown. It was like something was over everything. Then a single red pixel blinked in the top right corner of the screen. 4:44. The time. That was 2 days ago. Last night, at exactly 4:44 a.m., I got another message. Not through email, not Discord, not even my phone. It was printed from my own damn printer. I hadn't used it in months. It was unplugged dusty, paper tray empty, and still, it printed out this long page, front and back, like manifesto. It was titled, Confession 1, The Babysitter's Camera Feed. I read it, all of it. It was horrifying, like, way too real. A story about a girl in London who found a baby monitor streaming a live feed from a house she'd never seen before. Except the baby looked exactly like her, not like a look-alike, like it was her as a baby. But the people watching weren't her parents. The story ended with the house burning down. No explanation, no survivors, just a link. blackpope.onion/002. But here's the thing, that's not what scared me most. When I flipped the page over, there was a sentence scribbled in black marker across the back, like someone added it last second. You are next. Part 2 begins when you dream of ash. And the paper smelled burnt like smoke, like real fire. I haven't slept since. I think this guy, this thing, knows more about me than he should. This isn't just some LARP. I've been seeing that red pixel on everything now. Instagram stories, Starbucks order screens, even on Netflix loading screens. I think he's in, and if what he says is true, the stories are just the beginning. It started with the ash, not in a dream, in my bed. I woke up choking at 4:32 a.m., my throat dry like I'd swallowed fire, and there was black soot on my pillow. Not dust, not dirt, ash, thin flakes of it, like burned newspaper. I ran my hand through my hair, and it came out black with it. My mouth tasted like charcoal. My nose was bleeding. I didn't dream of ash. I was sleeping in it. I sprinted out of bed, flipped every light on in the apartment, heart pounding. I checked my mini kitchen, my charger bricks, even my old cracked vape to see if something had burned. Nothing. No fire. No wires fried. The room was cold and dark, like always, except now it smelled like a forest after a wildfire. That thick, metallic sweetness, like something died in the smoke. And on my desk, my dead printer was lit up again. It printed another page, slowly. Real slow this time, like it was thinking between lines. Every line thudded into place like a heartbeat. And when it was done, I stood there staring at the title. Confession 2, The Babysitter Who Watched Herself Die. I didn't want to read it. I swear I didn't. But I did, and I still remember every word. The file described a girl named Riley, 19, college sophomore, doing babysitting jobs around the Notting Hill area in London. Wealthy family, glass house, lots of security, cameras in every room. The family left her with a newborn girl. quiet baby, slept most of the time, and told her never to enter the guest bedroom, not once, not even to check on a noise. If you hear something, ignore it. If you see something on the monitors, look away. Don't record it. She thought they were just weird rich people. She was wrong. 10:14 p.m. First sound. She was in the kitchen reheating leftover Thai food. You can hear it in the background of the camera footage. A microwave beeping, low jazz music playing from a smart speaker. Then thump. A sound from upstairs. Not a baby cry. Not a door slam. Thump like something heavy hit the floor. She checked the monitor. The baby was fine, asleep. But the hallway feed, which pointed toward the forbidden guest room, was glitched, pixelated, like corrupted static. Then a second thump, louder, closer. This time, the hallway feed flickered, cleared for just a second, and a woman was standing in front of the guest room door, wearing the same clothes as Riley, same hair, same tattoo on her left arm. Only her face was wrong. No eyes, just two deep black sockets, caked with ash. Her mouth stretched too far, lips gone, teeth bared like cracked porcelain. She stared straight into the camera. No blinking, no breathing, just watching. Camera blinked again, and she was gone. 10:38 p.m. Breathing. Riley starts hearing breathing over the baby monitor. At first, she thinks it's just the baby, but then she realizes the breathing is too deep, too slow. It sounds like it's coming from the floor of the nursery. She checks the live feed. Nothing. The baby is asleep. Room looks normal, until she rewinds the tape. There's a 7-second clip missing. Black screen, just static. She rewinds again, frame by frame, and finds one single frame of something crawling under the crib, not walking, dragging itself, like its limbs are broken. Riley screams and grabs the baby, calls the police. They tell her to get out of the house, but when she tries to leave, the front door won't open. She tries the windows, sealed. The Wi-Fi goes dead. Cell service, gone. She locks herself in the bathroom with the baby and the monitor. This is when the real terror starts. 11:04 p.m. Loop. The monitor starts playing footage. Not live, not recorded. Something else. It shows Riley entering the house, setting down her bag, waving at the family, picking up the baby. All things she hadn't done yet. Then it shows her going upstairs, into the guest room, the forbidden one. She watches herself enter it, close the door, then nothing for 40 minutes. Then the door opens again, and she comes out, different. Her clothes are blackened, her skin is grey, her eyes missing. The Riley in the video walks to the crib, picks up the baby, and snaps its neck like a twig. No hesitation. She watches herself commit murder in perfect silence. Then the footage cuts to her, standing in the hallway again, staring into the camera. That was the end of the printed story. But under it, handwritten in marker again, was a new message. You've seen what you do in the guest room. Do you remember it now? I swear on everything, I had never been to London. I had never babysat in my life. But my hands were shaking, because on my forearm, under the long sleeve of my work hoodie, was a small scar, a little line I'd always assumed was from childhood. But when I looked closer, it was a stitch line, exactly like the one in the video description, where Riley had a stitched up scar after breaking her arm at 5 years old. I couldn't breathe. I felt cold all over. I ran to my closet, pulled out the fireproof box with my birth certificate, old documents, all that. I tore through it, and there it was, an expired British passport with my baby photo. My name was listed as Riley Charlotte Hart, I haven't told anyone that. My ID says I'm from Oregon. My parents live in Washington. Or at least they did. I called them that night. No answer. Called again. Voicemail. I checked their Instagram. Gone. Facebook. Deleted. Like they'd never existed. Even old tagged photos of me in high school were just black boxes now. Their faces blurred out. Only my face remained, staring blankly. And in the corner of every photo, I swear this is real, the red pixel, that same one, like it followed me there, like it was already there. I started panicking, like full-blown panic attack. I couldn't stay in my apartment. Everything smelled like ash. I drove out to a 24-hour Starbucks near the airport, thinking maybe being around people would help. It didn't, because when I pulled up, the place was closed, boarded up, as if it hadn't opened in months, but the lights were on inside, a faint red glow, and I swear I saw someone sitting at the counter, wearing my clothes, watching me through the window, smiling. That was last night. This morning, my printer spat out a third message. Not a story, not even a full sentence. Just, Confession 3. The apartment across from yours isn't empty. He's been filming you since September. And there was a Polaroid attached. A photo of me, sleeping, in my bed, covered in ash, from a high angle, like it was taken from the ceiling, or from a crawl space. And in the background, under my bed, 2 fingers, black and wet and twitching. I need you to understand something before I start this part. Everything you've read so far, the ash, the notes, the stories, the red pixel, all of it felt like watching my life through a warped pane of glass. Disturbing, yeah. Terrifying, yeah. But distant, like a nightmare you can half ignore if you keep enough lights on. Part 3 didn't feel like that. It felt close. Warm breath on the back of your neck close. I didn't need a printer or a message or a glitchy monitor to tell me something was in my crawl space. I heard it. 1. The first. Knock. It started at 2:11 a.m. A soft tapping above my head, like someone drumming their nails on the floorboards. Too slow to be an animal. Too thoughtful. Each tap spaced out, like someone counting the seconds between heartbeats. I sat frozen on my bed, listening. Tap, 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 tap. Then silence. I tried to tell myself it was pipes, or wind, something normal. But then something heavy shifted directly above my head. A drag, like a knee, or an elbow, scraping wood. And the entire ceiling dipped an inch, dust falling onto my blanket. Something was up there. Something big. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stared at the square attic hatch in the center of my ceiling. The one the landlord told me never to touch because it's sealed anyway. Turns out it wasn't sealed at all, because as I stared at it, a small bit of insulation drifted downward, like something had pressed its weight against the panel from the inside, and then, knock. Just one. Soft. Deliberate. As if answering my thoughts. 2. The crawlspace camera. I didn't sleep. I sat in the bathroom with the lights on, door locked, knees shaking so hard they made the tile vibrate. When morning finally hit, I ran to Best Buy as soon as it opened and bought a cheap snake camera, one of those flexible tube cameras plumbers use. I didn't want to check the crawl space, but I also couldn't not check it. My hands shook as I pulled my desk under the hatch, climbed up, and pushed the panel open. A draft of cold, stale air blew over me. It smelled like old sweat and something else. Metallic, sour, like pennies and mold. I fed the camera up into the darkness and watched my phone screen. At first, I saw dust, cobwebs, wooden beams, nothing unusual. Then the camera hit something soft. The image shook. I pulled the wire back a little and lowered the brightness so the glare wouldn't wash out the frame. That's when I saw it. A face, pressed against the rafters. My face, not moving, not blinking, just lying there like a discarded mask. Skin pale and too smooth, lips slightly parted like it had been caught mid-exhale, except it wasn't a mask. Its chest was rising, soft, shallow breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale. My chest didn't move with it. It wasn't a reflection, it wasn't a glitch. It was me, an exact copy of me, curled in the crawl space, wearing my hoodie, my jeans, even the frayed shoelaces I never bothered to replace. Its hair fell the same way mine did that morning, uneven, messy, sticking to its forehead. It looked asleep until its eyes opened, not slowly, not groggily. They snapped open all at once, and it looked directly into the camera, right into me. I don't know how long I stared. My breath hitched in my throat, and on the camera feed, its breath synced to mine. Perfect mirror timing, like it was mocking me. Then its mouth stretched into a smile. Way too wide, way too fast. That was the moment the crawl space floor creaked. Not where the double lay, but above my closet, on the opposite side of the ceiling. There wasn't just one up there. There were two, maybe more. 3. The neighbor's apartment. Remember the note? The one that said the apartment across from mine wasn't empty. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I waited until 3 p.m., bright daylight, people around, cars passing, and walked across the hall. I'd lived there 8 months and never seen anyone go in or out of that door. The landlord said it was being renovated, but the doorknob was warm when I grabbed it. Not room temperature warm, body warm, like someone had touched it seconds before. The door wasn't even locked. Inside, the place wasn't under renovation. It was perfectly lived in. Lights on, fresh groceries on the counter, stove still warm, a coffee cup with steam rising from it, a phone charging on the tables with notifications buzzing, but no people. And on the far wall, directly facing the door, was a whole setup of monitors, 6 screens stacked in 2 rows, all flickering with different angles of camera footage. All of the screens were showing my apartment, every room, every corner, even the bathroom. The worst one, the one that made my spine go cold, was the top middle screen, the crawl space feed. It showed my double, still lying there, still breathing, except now, it wasn't alone. Another figure crouched behind it, long arms, knees bent at unnatural angles, head tilted like a broken mannequin. Its fingers were hooked into my double's hair, stroking it gently, almost lovingly. I watched as it leaned down, whispered something into the double's ear, then paused, as if listening, and slowly turned its head toward the camera, toward me. Its mouth didn't smile, its eyes didn't blink, it just stared. Then the monitor flickered, static, then text, black font, white screen. He only wears your face when he's comfortable, but he prefers you awake. Behind me, inside the apartment I wasn't supposed to be in, something shifted, soft footsteps, bare feet on wood, slow, careful, approaching. I didn't look back. I ran. 4. The face at the elevator. I bolted into the hall and slammed the door behind me. So hard the frame shook. I mashed the elevator button over and over, fingers numb, breath ragged. The doors opened after the longest 10 seconds of my life, and I dove inside. Right as the doors were closing, someone stepped into view. Me, not the double from the crawl space. This one stood upright, tall, confident, wearing the same clothes I had on today, not yesterday. Even the same Starbucks stain on the sleeve from the iced latte I dropped earlier, but the face wasn't behaving right. The expressions were delayed, muscles twitching too fast or too slow, like someone trying to control a puppet with tangled strings. It tilted its head at me, not curious, studying, memorizing. Then its mouth opened, and something inside its throat clicked, like teeth tapping together where they shouldn't be. A sound came out, but it didn't match the mouth movements, like audio playing out of sync. We've been living with you longer than you know. The door shut, the elevator dropped. I sank to the floor and finally screamed. 5, the message, waiting at home. I didn't go back to my apartment. I couldn't. I walked around the city until the sky turned black and the streetlights flickered on. Every reflection in every window felt like it moved a fraction too slow. Every bus mirror showed someone behind me that wasn't there when I turned around. Around midnight, I finally checked my phone. One notification, a text from an unknown number. It wasn't words, it wasn't coordinates, it wasn't a threat, it was a video file. I tapped it. The footage was from inside my apartment, my bed, my blankets, my room, me, sleeping. Only, it wasn't last night, it was right now. The video showed me lying in bed, even though I was standing in the middle of a sidewalk downtown. Someone, something else was wearing my body, perfectly, seamlessly, breathing like me, twitching like me, even murmuring in its sleep the way I do sometimes. Then, on the video, the copy opened its eyes, wide, awake, and stared directly at the camera, as if it knew I was watching. Then, with my voice, but wrong, too calm, too measured, it whispered, "You don't have to come home, I already did." The video ended, and behind me, somewhere in the reflection of the dark shop window, a shape shifted, wearing my outline, not close, but closer than before. I don't know how long I stayed frozen on that sidewalk, staring at my own face, breathing in a bed I wasn't lying in. It could have been minutes, could have been an hour. Everything around me felt distant. The rumble of late-night buses, the hum of neon signs, the low chatter of people walking past who didn't even glance at me. And I kept thinking, if something else is sleeping in my bed, where am I supposed to sleep? But that didn't matter anymore, because the next message came before I could even put my phone down. A voicemail from my own number. I never call myself. No one does. But there it was, time-stamped 1 minute ago. My finger hovered over it, shaking, and when I finally hit play, I heard breathing. My breathing. Slow. Calm. A sound I'd heard 1,000 times in recordings of videos, except this version felt wrong, like someone playing my inhale and exhale at half speed. Then I heard my own voice, whisper, "Stop running. They're learning." The line went dead. My skin went ice cold. 1. The reflection that glitched. I ducked into a closed cafe patio, trying to hide from everything that looked even remotely like my shadow. The windows were dark, reflecting the dim street lamps behind me. I checked the glass just to make sure no one was following, and the reflection lagged, not by much, just a fraction of a second. A tiny delay between me raising my hand and my reflection copying it, like a buffering video, like a bad connection, like reality was trying to load around me and failing. I stepped closer. The reflection stepped closer too, except it tilted its head just slightly, and I didn't. I froze. It didn't. It kept tilting, slow, smooth, too precise, not bone and muscle movement, but something rehearsed, practiced, Its chin nearly touched its shoulder, neck bending at an angle no human neck should manage. Then it smiled. Not the wide, wrong smile from the crawlspace copy. This one was subtle, convincing, almost gentle, like someone had studied hundreds of videos of me and pieced together the most human-looking grin they could manage, but got the timing all wrong. My reflection mouthed something, no sound, just the shape of words. "You're falling behind." Then the reflection blinked, not vertically, but horizontally, like shutters, and the glass went dark. 2. The phone call from the airport. I didn't go home. I didn't go to a hotel. I didn't even go to my car. I knew they'd be waiting in any place with my records, my routines, my fingerprints. I took a bus to the airport, hoping crowds and cameras would be safer than empty streets. I sat in a plastic terminal chair and tried to breathe like a normal person. People rushed around me, families dragging suitcases, businessmen with AirPods, teenagers taking TikToks in the corner. Normal life, normal noise. For a moment, I felt invisible. Then my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered it before my brain could tell me not to, but it wasn't breathing this time. It was airport noise, the exact same announcements and chatter happening around me, but delayed by about 5 seconds, like someone was playing back my environment from a few minutes ahead. Then I heard my own voice say, "Look to gate 42. My head snapped up. Gate 42 was across from me. Someone stood there. They looked exactly like me. Same posture, same hair, same clothes from 3 days ago when I last did laundry. But they weren't looking at me. They were rehearsing me, studying people around them, mimicking their gestures, then adjusting them, copying how a kid scratched his nose, how a woman shifted her purse, how a man checked his watch, like it was practicing social cues, fine-tuning the act of being human, being me. Then it turned its head, right at me, a perfect mirror, but its eyes, they weren't copying mine anymore. They were watching, learning, refining, evolving. The moment our eyes met, the lights in the terminal flickered just once, and when they steadied, the copy was gone, vanished, not walked away, gone. 3. The man who said he knew me. Security guards started moving down the terminal, murmuring into radios. Something was wrong. People were staring at departure boards, updating with impossible times. Lights listed for dates that didn't exist. Gates labeled with symbols instead of numbers. Screens glitching with static and red dots. I slipped into a quieter corner near a charging station, trying to keep my back against a wall so nothing could appear behind me. That's when a man sat down 2 chairs away. He was older, mid-50s maybe, expensive coat, glittering watch, someone who didn't belong at 1 a.m. in a half-empty terminal. He didn't look at me, just spoke with a tired voice. "You shouldn't be here. You're making it too easy for them." My heart stopped. "What?" He sighed, closed his eyes, rubbed his temples. "How many do you think you've seen so far?" I swallowed. "Copies?" He shook his head. "No, those are just the ones that want to be seen." I stared at him. "You know what they are?" He cracked a faint, humorless smile. "No one knows what they are, but we know what they do." He finally looked at me, and his eyes were red-rimmed with exhaustion or fear. Maybe both. "They don't replace people," he said softly. "They just take turns wearing us." My stomach turned. "You're lying." He leaned closer, voice dropping to a whisper. "Have you never woken up and felt wrong in your own skin? Like you missed something? Like someone else lived a whole day in your place while you were out? I couldn't answer, because yes, I'd felt that 8 dozen times, maybe more. He stood up, pulling his coat tighter. They're getting better at it, he said. Each one learns faster than the last, and the more you run, the more they adapt. My voice cracked. What do they want? He paused, then said the last thing I expected. They want to help you forget. Forget what? He looked around nervously, then whispered. You were one of the first. Before I could ask what that meant, the airport lights cut out. All at once. A blackout. People screamed. Phones lit up. Security radios crackled with static. When the emergency lights finally flickered back on, the man was gone, and someone was sitting in the seat he had been in. Someone wearing my face, but not the version from the crawl space, not the version from the video, not the version from the reflection. This one was nearly perfect, too perfect. It looked at me with pity, with sadness, like it remembered something I didn't. Then it whispered my name, my real name, the one from the British passport I'd never acknowledged out loud. And for the first time, its expression wasn't imitation, it was recognition. And then, it spoke a sentence that tore the floor out from under me. Stop searching for your parents. They're not missing. They're waiting for you to come home. I blinked, and it vanished. Not dissolved, not ran, just skipped, like a frame removed from reality 4. The final broadcast. I ran out of the airport. I didn't stop until I reached the edge of a deserted parking lot, lit only by the flicker of a broken street lamp. The wind was sharp and cold and carried the scent of wet concrete and oil. My phone vibrated, but not the call. A live stream notification from an account I didn't follow, an account with my name, my photo, my bio. Live now. You should watch this. My fingers trembled as I tapped it open. The stream showed my apartment, lamp on, covers pulled back. My double, the perfect one, standing in the middle of the room, not moving, just waiting. Someone behind the camera adjusted the focus, then stepped forward. Gray hoodie, black jeans, same shoes as me. Another copy. This one held a small box, wrapped in soot and tied with a burned shoelace. The perfect copy lifted its chin, smiled, and said, in my exact voice, Part 5 begins when you open the door. Then it walked towards the camera, reached out, and shut off the stream. I didn't go home right away. I couldn't. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. My legs kept folding under me, like they didn't belong to me anymore. Like they still belonged to somebody else who had worn them earlier and hadn't put them back right. Every time I blinked, I saw that live stream again. My room, my lamp, my face, and the box. That small, soot-stained box, wrapped in that burned shoelace, was the thing that kept replaying in my mind. Not the doubles, not the perfect copy, not even the voice that wasn't mine, but felt like a memory I'd forgotten to have. The box. Part 5 begins when you open the door. I didn't know which door they meant. Home? The airport terminal? The past? All I knew was that something was waiting for me, and hiding wasn't going to stop it. So I went back. I walked up the stairwell to my apartment, each step feeling more and more like descending instead of ascending. Cold metal railing, flickering lights, my reflection on each window pane shifting just a little out of sync. By the time I reached my floor, the building felt wrong. Not empty, not quiet, just occupied, like something had moved in behind every wall. The door that was already open. My apartment door was cracked open, just a sliver, enough for warm air to spill out. Not the warm air of a heater or a kitchen, but the warmth of breath. Breath that didn't belong to me. I stood there, barely breathing myself. The hallway felt stretched, like the walls were leaning in toward me. The carpet fibers were flattened in the shape of bare feet, leading directly to my door. Dozens of them, overlapping, some small, some large. Not steps, standing prints, like they'd all been waiting. I pushed the door with one finger. It swung open silently. My apartment was bright, lights on, every lamp, every bulb. Some I didn't even own. Cheap desk lamps that hadn't been there before, pointed at walls and angles like someone was setting up a film set. And on the floor, the box, exactly where the live stream ended. No copies in sight, no movement, just the box, soot-stained, burned string, a tiny tag attached like a gift, in my handwriting, but rounded, neat, like the version of my handwriting I used to have in childhood before I grew into the messy scrawl I use now. The tag said, "For when you remember." My throat tightened, my vision swam. I crouched slowly and picked up the box. It was heavier than I expected. Not metal, not stone. More like something organic. Something that had weight because it had meaning, not mass. I untied the string. The lid lifted easy. Inside was nothing. At first, just darkness. Thick and matte, like the absence of light was a physical material packed inside. But when I tilted the box, something rolled, something small, smooth, like a marble. It hit the light, and my entire body froze. It wasn't a marble. It was an eye, not bloody, not damaged, not gory, just perfectly preserved, with my iris. And it blinked, blink, 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 slow, mechanical, practiced. Then a whisper filled the room, not from the box, not from the walls, from everywhere. "Welcome back." 2. The face that was mine, before mine. The lights flickered. When they steadied, something was standing in the doorway to my bedroom, not one of the previous doubles. This one was older, not in age, in experience. Its posture wasn't mimicry. Its breathing wasn't rehearsed. Its eyes weren't hollow. This one looked more like me than I did. A version of me that had lived more days than I could ever remember. A version that looked tired, but patient. Someone who'd been waiting for a very, very long time. And when it smiled, there was no wrongness in it. No uncanny twitch. No delay. Just recognition. Like meeting a twin separated at birth. Except deeper. "I knew you'd return," it said in my voice. But the tone wasn't mocking. It was gentle, warm, almost relieved. My knees nearly buckled. What are you?" Its expression softened, like watching someone with endless empathy, carefully choosing a truth they know will hurt. "I'm the one you were before you became you." That made no sense. None. "Stop talking in riddles," I snapped, even though my voice cracked. "Tell me what's happening." The double stepped forward, slow, unthreatening, and every light in the room seemed to dim around it, like the world was making space for something more real. "You're not the original," it said softly. "You're the one who was made to replace the one who left." My chest tightened. "Left where?" The double nodded toward the crawl space. "Home." 3. The memory. They needed me to remember. I staggered back as sudden images flashed in my head. Not violent, not bloody, just fragmented memories, out of order. A house, with smoke rising from the roof. Someone pulling me, a child version of me, out of a crib. Voices whispering variations of my name in a dozen unfamiliar tones. Looking into a mirror and seeing a face that wasn't mine yet. And then the strongest memory. A room filled with people who all looked like me. Dozens, hundreds, every age, every height. One of them saying, "If one forgets, another remembers for them." My knees buckled, my vision blurred. I grabbed the wall to stay upright. The double approached slowly and placed the box back in my hands. "You weren't supposed to live this life," it said. "You only wore it until the real one returned." I swallowed hard. Returned? Who? The real me? The double didn't answer, because something else stepped out of my bedroom. Something wearing my exact face, but older. Not physically, spiritually. More worn, more lived in. And when it looked at me, my heart stopped. Not out of fear, out of recognition. Deep, primal recognition. The kind that hits you when you see an old picture of yourself you forgot existed. This wasn't a copy. This wasn't an imitation. This was me. The me before the rewrites, before the replacements, before the memories were taken and scattered. This was the original, and it spoke with a voice that felt like a childhood memory I'd lost. "I need the life you borrowed back." For the door that wasn't a door, the air thickened, the walls pulsed, the lights flickered and dimmed. In the corner of the room, where the shadows pooled deepest, a crack appeared. Not a physical crack, more like a tear in the idea of a wall. Behind it was darkness, not empty darkness, crowded darkness. Shapes moved inside it, silhouettes of people, with my outline, my height, my mannerisms. Some were half-formed, some were flawless. Some were broken versions that mimicked breath wrong or walked like the joints didn't belong to them. All of them watched, all of them waiting, all of them wearing me. The original stepped closer. "You were never meant to stay," it said softly. "You were just meant to fill the space until I found my way back." I staggered back, shaking. I'm alive. I'm real. I'm not. "You are real," it said, "and that's why this is painful." It reached out and touched my shoulder. Not violently, not aggressively, just a touch, and my vision blasted wide open. I saw the fire. I saw the house. I saw the guest room. I saw the family that wasn't mine, but had raised a version of me before the swap. And I remembered the night they pulled me out, not to save me, to replace me. Because the originals, the ones that came before human copies existed, didn't die. They simply left, leaving space. Space that needed to be filled. Space that people like me were designed to occupy. Until the real ones returned. My voice trembled. What happens to me?" The original smiled sadly. "The same thing that happened to the others." They gestured toward the tear in the wall. The place that wasn't a place. The doorway that wasn't a doorway. "You come home." 5. The ending. That isn't an ending. My legs stopped obeying me. My hands went numb. My thoughts slowed, thick and heavy. The doubles gathered behind the original, forming a silent wall of familiar faces. Some smiled. Some cried. Some looked expressionless, like mannequins. One whispered, "We missed you." The original stepped aside, giving me a clear view of the tear in the wall. And inside the darkness, shapes leaned closer. Dozens of versions of me. Hundreds. Some whispering, some reaching out, some smiling with a kindness that felt almost maternal. Some trembling like they'd been waiting for this moment for decades. The box in my hands grew warm. The eye inside blinked, slow, replicating my heartbeat. My breath caught, my knees buckled. The original reached out, steadying me with a touch that felt painfully familiar. "Your life here was never stolen," it said. "You were just borrowing it." My voice came out strangled. "I don't want to go." The original's expression softened. Everyone says that. The tear widened. The copies leaned forward, their voices layered into one whisper, 100 tones of my voice overlapping. It's time to come back. And as the room tilted forward and the darkness pulled me in, I heard one final whisper from the original. Don't worry. The one who wears you next will live better than you did. And that's where my story ends. Not with a scream, not with a chase, not with violence. Just a slow, quiet realization. I was never alone in my own life, because it was never my life to begin with. And now I'm where the others are, behind the walls, in the dark, waiting for my turn, watching someone else wear my face better than I ever did, waiting for the next replacement to forget until they remember. I'm interviewing a man who claims to be the founder of the dark web. So, this happened maybe 4 months ago now, and I still don't know how to explain it to people without sounding either insane or like I'm trying way too hard to be a creepypasta narrator. But it happened. It actually happened. And if anything in this world ever goes wrong with me, like I disappear, or something leaks about me, I want this story here as a record. I'm not some tech genius. I'm not even one of those cybersecurity bros you see on TikTok, warning you about your fridge, listening to your conversations. I'm literally just some 24-year-old guy who works at a Starbucks in Austin, Texas, and spends way too much time doom scrolling Reddit and watching animated horror stories on YouTube when I should be sleeping. That night started like any other. I'd worked a 3 p.m., 11 p.m. shift, got home with that sticky latte syrup feeling still on my hands, tossed my apron in the laundry, cracked open a Red Bull, and hopped on Discord. My friend Max was in VC, going off about some Valorant comp drama like usual, so I half-listened while opening Twitter on my second monitor. That's when I got the DM. It was from an account I'd never seen before. No profile picture, no banner, just the name root node. I actually laughed, thought it was a bot or some cringy ARG account trying to get clicks. But I clicked the message anyway, because I'm dumb like that. It said, "You watch the surface. Want to see what lies beneath?" Just that, no links, no emojis, no nothing. And it was sent live. Like it was typed and sent while I had the screen open. I swear the typing dots had just disappeared when it popped up. So I messaged back, "Bro, this ain't 2014. Go lop somewhere else, LMAO." And I kid you not, the dude starts typing instantly. Like instantly, I didn't even have time to turn off my second monitor. He says, "I built the crawl space the world pretends isn't there. You don't have to believe me, but you'll see it soon." Now that part stuck with me. Something about the word crawl space just made my stomach twist. Not like the cool hacker lingo you'd expect. It felt too grounded, too physical. I didn't reply after that. I closed the DM and muted him. Figured I'd forget about it. But then 3 weird things happened the next day. My Wi-Fi stopped working. No, I don't mean the signal dropped. I mean my actual network name changed. It literally said crawlspace _auth _engaged. I checked on my phone too. Same thing. My old Gmail account, one I haven't used in years, sent me an email from myself. I swear to God, I checked the headers and everything. It was legit. And it just said, "Interview's ready." The Starbucks where I work got hit with a weird power glitch. The register shut off for 4 minutes. Every screen flashed this red-green code, like the Matrix on acid, and then, boom, it all came back like nothing happened. My manager called it an electric hiccup, but when I checked the receipt printer later, it had printed out a single phrase, over and over, across the whole roll. You agreed by opening the message. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, someone's messing with me. Maybe Max, maybe one of my co-workers with too much free time and just enough Python knowledge. I was still trying to rationalize it. That night though, I got a link. It came to my Instagram DMs. Again, account with no posts, no mutuals, just a username that looked like a Bitcoin address. The message just said, "You're scheduled, 3:33 a.m. Don't miss it. It's a one-time URL." And below it, a string of random letters and slashes. Not a .com, not a .onion, not anything I recognized. Just pure gibberish. Of course, I didn't click it. Not yet. I googled it, reversed, searched it, copied the domain, and ran it through virus total nothing. It didn't even register as a proper link, but something in me, something stupid, set an alarm for 3:25 a.m. When it went off, I was already half awake. I don't know why. I felt weird, like there was pressure in the air, like before a tornado touches down. My apartment was dead quiet, even though I live in a complex right off a highway. No cars, no AC hum, no fridge buzz. I got up, sat down at my desk, copied the link from my Instagram, and I clicked it. I swear to God, I swear on everything I've ever loved, the screen didn't load a page. It melted, like my browser folded inward. My screen glitched once, then displayed what looked like a Zoom call UI, but stripped down, all black, with only two names, You Founder, and then his camera turned on. The man sitting across from me looked normal, like too normal, balding, early 50s maybe, glasses with those thick 90s rims, wearing a black turtleneck like he worked for Apple in a parallel universe. Behind him, just pitch black, no room, no walls, no echo, nothing. He leaned in and smiled like he'd been waiting years for this moment. Then he said, "Clear as day, you're the first one to actually show up." He didn't blink once. I sat there paralyzed, not just scared, frozen, like something in me knew it shouldn't move. You ever have sleep paralysis? That's what it felt like, except I was awake, and his voice felt too real, not like a video call, like it was inside my head, bypassing the speakers entirely. The founder leaned in again. His skin was too smooth, like wax. His eyes were dark, unreadable, not black, just hollow, like something deep was always pulling behind them. "I've had over 400,000 invitations accepted. You're the first who stayed past the login." I didn't say anything. I couldn't. My mic wasn't even on, but he smiled anyway, as if I had. "Let's begin the interview." And then the screen split. Suddenly, there were 4 windows. Mine, his, and 2 more labeled. Client number 0217, underground. Client number 4666, Tangier tapes. The first showed a room. Gray concrete walls, no furniture, dim yellow light flickering overhead. A guy in a ski mask was kneeling in the corner, tied with what looked like old telephone wire, hands bleeding. The second feed made me want to puke. It was a McDonald's, but not here, not in the US. The signs were in Arabic, Morocco maybe. Everything looked off, like someone had recreated a McDonald's from memory, but got the colors wrong. The golden arches were too thin, stretched like they were melting. The cashier stood motionless, and the customers didn't have faces, not blurred, not masked, Missing. Smooth, skin-toned ovals where eyes and mouths should be. Like AI render fails. One of them slowly turned toward the camera and raised a Happy Meal box, dripping something dark from the bottom. I reached for the power button on my PC. Nothing happened. I held it, slammed it. Nothing. Founder spoke again. The deep web is not a place. It's a test. And those who find the real gates, not your petty onion mirrors or snuff film legends, get asked one question. How much do you want to know? The McDonald's camera panned slowly. There was a play area in the back. You know, those plastic tunnels for kids. There was movement in it. I thought it was a child at first. Then it crawled out. It was long, unnaturally long. A body bent backwards at the spine, like a crab, limbs too thin and twitching. No skin, just glossy red muscle, glistening like it had just been born, and its head was wearing a paper crown, like from Burger King. It screamed. I didn't hear it with my ears. I felt it in my molars, like metal scraping teeth. And then the founder whispered, "Do you recognize it? They're always built from memory." And that was the worst part, because I did recognize it. It looked exactly like the mascot costume from my 5th birthday party, back when my dad took me to the weird knockoff play place in Ciudad Juarez, while my parents were working things out. Except that place burned down 2 days later, killed 4 kids. I felt my hands sweating. My mouse slipped from my grip. The founder tilted his head. "Are you ready for the question?" The feeds went black. Every window, even mine. Then just text. "Which one dies?" And below it, client number 0217, client number 4666. There was a timer. 30 seconds. Red numbers. Counting down. I didn't understand. I didn't want to understand. I screamed at the monitor. I begged. I reached for the plug, ripped it clean from the wall. The screen stayed on. 20 seconds. The founder's voice, gentle now. "Participation is consent. This is your interview, and this is your price." I don't know what made me click. I just wanted it to stop. I clicked number 0217. Immediately, the first feed snapped back online. He was on his knees, hands tied, sobbing. Then something walked in from off-screen. I only caught a glimpse. Too tall, too thin, wearing a mask that looked like mine, like my face. It walked up behind the guy, and he started convulsing before the thing even touched him. His nose exploded with blood. Eyes rolled back so hard they popped. Then his mouth stretched wide, too wide, and he started screaming names, not gibberish. My mom's name, my high school, my ex, my dog, my Starbucks manager, like he was purging my life in real time. Then he dropped, just collapsed, like a puppet cut loose. The creature peeled something from his neck, looked like a SIM card, and turned to stare directly at me. The founder appeared again, calm, unblinking. "Good. We can continue." I tried to back out. Alt F4, Control Alt Delete. I even smashed the monitor with my elbow. Nothing. The screen rippled like water, but stayed intact. Then my phone lit up. A FaceTime request from a contact named Unknown Cell. The thumbnail preview showed me, but from behind. Like the camera was in my room. I turned so fast, I tripped over my chair, slammed into the dresser. Nothing was there. But when I looked back, my screen showed a new feed, a live stream of me. From above, like CCTV footage from inside my apartment. The founder spoke one last time that night. "You're inside now. Crawl space remembers you. Sleep carefully." And then it ended. All of it. The stream, the noise, the feed. Gone. Just my desktop wallpaper. just silence. My PC wouldn't boot for a week after that. Geek Squad said it had BIOS corruption from firmware unknowns, whatever the hell that means. And my phone still has that contact in it. Can't delete it. Unknown cell. It rings every night at 3:33 a.m. I don't answer. Not yet. I didn't sleep after that night. Not because I didn't try, but because every time I drifted off, I'd hear something shifting under my mattress. Not like a mouse or pipes, like breathing. Slow, wet, too human to ignore, too wrong to accept. I'd jolt awake and the room would be silent again, but that silence had weight, like someone holding their breath inches from your face in the dark. By the fourth night, my phone had called me at 3:33 a.m. 3 times. I didn't answer, but on the fourth night, something changed. The phone didn't ring. It knocked. 3 taps from inside the phone, like someone rapped their knuckles on the screen. From the other side of the glass, I threw the phone across the room. It slid under the bed and didn't make another sound. But when I got to work the next morning, the Starbucks espresso machine wouldn't start. The digital screen just flickered and displayed, "You're late." My coworker Jenna thought it was a glitch, but the machine only glitched when I was the one touching it. At lunch, I opened my Instagram DMs and saw a new message from that random Bitcoin-coded account. It said, "Prepare for phase 2. Your environment will adjust accordingly." What environment? My apartment? My life? I ignored it, but my environment didn't ignore me. The mirror incident. 2 days later, I was brushing my teeth in my bathroom, half asleep, staring at my reflection. Nothing weird, just me. Messy hair, toothpaste foam on my chin, desperately needing a haircut. Then I blinked. Just one normal blink, and my reflection didn't blink back. It stared at me, eyelids peeled wide, pupils shaking like they were trying to escape my eyes. I froze, toothbrush hanging stupidly from my mouth. I blinked again, slow this time. My reflection only blinked after me, with a delay, like it had to be reminded what blinking was. It raised its hand a second after I raised mine. It tilted its head the opposite way. Then its lips curled into a smile that stretched too far, too fast, like someone dragging a cursor across a face. I stumbled backward into the shower curtain and ripped it down with me. When I sat up, panting, the mirror showed nothing. Not even the bathroom behind me. It was pitch black, a void. Then, through that darkness, a hand pressed up against the inside of the glass. Long fingers, tapping, tap, 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 tap. Morse code, maybe, or a message I didn't want to translate. I ran out of the apartment barefoot and didn't come back until sunrise. The call. That night, I finally cracked. When the phone rang at exactly 3:33 a.m., I answered. I didn't say anything, but a voice did. Not the founder, not a human voice at all. It was mechanical, but strained, like it was fighting to sound human. "You are being prepared," I whispered. "For what?" There was a long pause, a kind of silence that feels like something listening. Then, "For entry." My stomach dropped. "Entry where?" Another pause. "Below." I was about to hang up when something clicked loudly on the line, like someone plugging in a second device. Then another voice came through. The founder. But this time, he sounded closer, like he wasn't on a call, like he was standing right behind me. "You've already been admitted. I'm only clarifying the terms." I spun around. Nothing. Just darkness. My room felt cold, though. The air smelled different, like wet stone. I clutched the phone tighter. What did I agree to? This time, he chuckled. I felt it more than heard it, like the sound was coming through the air vent or the walls or my teeth. You clicked, continue. That's all the crawl space ever needs. My hand shook. I looked around my room, expecting to see a camera or a figure or some sign of intrusion. Then he said something that chilled me more than anything else yet. You made a choice in phase 1. Now someone else has to make theirs about you. I felt my blood go cold. What does that mean? He exhaled slowly, like he was savoring the fear. Think of it like an interview. Someone sees your file. They choose your fate, just like you chose theirs. He paused, and their countdown has already started. The phone call cut instantly. My screen flashed white, then black, then displayed. Phase 2. Observation. Initiated. Someone started following me. The next morning, I noticed a man outside my apartment complex. Tall, hood up, standing by the mailbox. He didn't look at me, but his phone pointed in my direction while he pretended to text. When I walked to my car, he walked too, always 15 steps behind. When I stopped at a gas station, he stopped too, but stayed in his car, engine off, staring through the windshield. That night, he was outside Starbucks, pretending to be on his laptop, but the screen was off. Every time he appeared, my phone buzzed with a notification. Observer, active. I tried to take a picture. My phone crashed. I tried to point him out to Max on Discord. My mic cut out every time I said the words, "There's someone following." The observer didn't speak, didn't chase me, didn't threaten me. He just cataloged me. Every move, every routine, every weakness. And at 3:33 a.m., my phone lit up with a new message. Your evaluation is almost complete. Then a second one. They've seen enough. And a third. Your countdown begins tomorrow. The final message of phase 2. At sunrise, a package was left at my door. No address, no barcode. Just my name, handwritten in shaky pen strokes. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No threats, no instructions, just a timestamp. Phase 3 begins Friday, 3:33 a.m. You will be removed. Removed from what? My home? My life? Reality? I don't know. But tonight is Thursday, and there's something moving under my bed again. Not breathing this time. Whispering. I don't know what I expected at 3:33 a.m. Scream tearing through the dark. A shadow figure stepping out of my closet. Some glitch tearing open the wall like a digital wound. But when the clock flipped from 3:32 to 3:33, the first thing I noticed wasn't a noise. It was the absence of one. Everything in my apartment went silent. Not the normal nighttime quiet. I mean, the world went mute. The fridge hum cut out. The AC died mid-breath. Even the street outside, usually buzzing with late-night DoorDash drivers, just stopped existing. Silence, like a vacuum. Then my phone lit up on its own. No notification, just the screen turning white, slowly brightening until it looked like a flashlight pointed at my face. Words appeared one line at a time. Phase 3. Removal has commenced. Please remain still. Your observer is en route. My stomach twisted. The observer. The guy who'd been following me for days. The one who never blinked and never changed clothes. I grabbed my hoodie and backed into the hallway, ready to run. But the moment I touched the doorknob, the metal burned ice cold, like it had been dipped into liquid nitrogen. Frost bloomed across it in seconds. I stared. My breath came out white. My apartment suddenly dropped to maybe 40 degrees, maybe lower, and then I heard it. A sound I still don't know how to describe. Not a footstep, not breathing, not knocking. It was like someone dragging their palm across the inside of the walls. Slow, deliberate strokes, tracing the shape of my room from within the drywall. Once, twice, 3 times. Then it stopped directly behind me. I pressed myself against the opposite wall, heart slamming my ribs like it wanted out. My phone vibrated again. Do not look at the wall. My eyes snapped forward. I didn't dare move. The air pressure shifted, like something massive was leaning into the apartment, pushing its weight through the sheetrock. The wall behind me grew cold, then colder, then wrong. It didn't feel like a surface anymore. It felt like something breathing under the paint. The observer enters. The knocking on my apartment door didn't start loud. Actually, it barely sounded like knocking at all. It was soft, fingertips tapping, a rhythm like someone testing a microphone. Then from the other side of the door, "I can see you." Not shouted, not whispered, just said calmly, like a barista calling out a drink order. I froze. The voice wasn't the founder's. It was higher, younger, emotionless, and yet too familiar, like someone using a voice clone trained on my memories. I backed away until my shoulders pressed the cold wall. My phone lit up again. "Do not open the door. Do not answer him. Do not engage." The tapping grew heavier, then faster. It turned into knocking, then pounding, then the sound of a fist slamming the wood so hard the frame shook. "Let me in. They chose me. I need to finish your evaluation." My pulse was screaming. I covered my ears, but his voice pushed through like it was vibrating the air itself. "I saw your file. I know what you did. I didn't do anything. I didn't choose anything. I only clicked a box." The door handle began to turn, slowly, precisely, as if whoever was on the other side had all the time in the world. I grabbed the nearest object, a lamp, and raised it like a weapon, even though I knew damn well it wouldn't matter. The handle clicked open, but the door didn't move. Instead, the wall behind me shifted, just slightly, like a ripple under the paint. And then something happened that made my bones feel hollow. The knocking started again, but this time it came from inside the apartment, not the door, not the walls, directly from the air, like the sound was being played into the room from a point right behind me. My phone vibrated again. My hand shook as I looked. "He isn't at the door. You are looking at the wrong place." I turned slowly, terrified of what would be there, but the apartment was empty. Then a shape moved behind my couch. Not a person, not a shadow, more like the air itself bent around something invisible, like someone walking through heat waves on asphalt, but indoors the distortion rose slowly to full height, and then a face surfaced from the blur, just briefly, just long enough for me to see that it was wearing my expression, but smiling in a way I never had. My phone pinged again. "Do not let it touch you." That was enough for me. I bolted into the hallway toward the bathroom, the only room with a lock. The mirror didn't reflect me anymore. I slammed the bathroom door shut and locked it. The lights flickered once, twice, then went ice blue. My reflection was already waiting, not standing like me, leaning, both hands pressed against the glass from the inside, like someone staring into an aquarium. Its eyes were wrong, empty, like something wearing my skin didn't understand how eyes should move. It mouthed something, no sound, just the shape of the words, "Let." I-T-I-N. I stumbled backward, knocking over the trash bin and hitting my head on the counter. The reflection lifted its hand and dragged its fingers down the inside of the mirror. and the glass fogged over from its side. Not mine. 3 words appeared in the condensation. You were chosen. Then the door behind me rattled, soft at first, then violently, like someone slamming both palms against it. In a frenzy, the lock started turning on its own. I pressed my entire body weight against the door, shaking uncontrollably. The mirror went black, not like it turned off, but like the glass had been replaced with a hole, a deep, endless, absolutely lightless hole. Wind pulled toward it, but it wasn't wind. It was suction, like the mirror was trying to inhale me. My phone lit up one final time. A message in bright red letters. Phase 3, completed. The removal is approved. Do not resist. The door blew inward. The lights died. The mirror's darkness expanded like a mouth. And then, everything went silent again. I woke up in a room I don't remember entering. I didn't dream. There was no transition, no blacking out, no fading in. Just snap, eyes open, and I was already here. The walls were the same color as old teeth, not painted, grown, like the whole room had been carved from a living thing that didn't know it was architecture yet. No corners. Everything curved. The ceiling pulsed like it was breathing. There was no door, no exit, only a chair in the center, and sitting in it was me, but not a reflection, not a doppelganger, a version. My hair was shaved, my eyes, hollowed black but still wet, still watching. He was thinner, like something had been eating him slowly from the inside, but leaving the skin intact out of politeness. He didn't speak, just stared. I took a step forward. My feet made no sound on the floor. In fact, I realized the room wasn't just silent, it was swallowing sound, like every noise died as soon as it touched the air. Then my other self blinked, and the walls blinked with him. I froze. A sound bloomed behind me. Not a footstep, not breathing. Something worse. Typing, keyboard clicks, mechanical, fast, sharp, like someone transcribing my entire life in real time. I turned. A figure stood in the corner, or sat, or floated. I couldn't tell. It was shaped like a person, but stretched wrong. Long, thin, draped in something black that moved like underwater fabric, and it had a screen for a face. Old. CRT. Static humming. Lines of text scrolled down it. All in a font I recognized immediately. The same font from the Starbucks register system. It typed as I watched. Subject 712. C. Initiated contact voluntarily. Agreed to terms without consultation. Performed elimination of client number 0217. Resisted removal phase. Observation. Unstable, incomplete, corrupt. Then it stopped. The screen went black, and the voice came back. Not the founder. Something older. Do you understand your purpose now? I couldn't speak. You are the new question. The room twisted, like the whole structure was rotating around me. The ceiling became the wall. The floor bent upward. My balance dissolved. I dropped to my knees, dizzy, drooling, clutching at flesh walls that twitched when I touched them. The dark web isn't a place. It's a chamber, a crucible, a tool to find the next one. My duplicate stood up. Its jaw dislocated with a click, then split downward like a zipper inside its mouth. Wires feeding deeper into its throat. Lights flickered behind its teeth like fiber optic cables under skin. It reached toward me. I tried to crawl backward. My palms sank into the floor like clay warm, pulsing, wet. Then the screen thing stepped forward and spoke again. You clicked. You judged. You watched. Now, you will be watched. The walls folded inward. The screens blinked to life. Hundreds, maybe thousands of them, all showing me. Every version of me across the last year. Me at work. Me crying at 2 a.m. Me picking my nose in traffic. Me watching Horror Story. YouTubers with the lights off, laughing nervously. All of it. Archived. Dissected. Replayed from impossible angles. I started screaming, and that's when I understood. I was never the interviewer. The founder never picked me. The crawl space didn't lure me in. I was built for it. My choices were the test. The second I picked number 0217 to die, I wrote my own role in the system. The crawl space didn't need monsters. It needed hosts. Human minds broken just enough to mirror the algorithm. We think of the dark web like it's a swamp, a place where you wade too deep and get stuck. But it's not. It's a trapdoor in your behavior. You don't go to the deep web, you become it. And I'd passed every checkpoint. I clicked. I watched. I judged. I let the door open. And now, I was the archive. I am still online. Right now, I'm not writing this from my laptop. There is no laptop. There is no apartment. There is no Starbucks. There was only the archive. And I am the new interviewer. That's how the system expands. One click at a time. One story at a time. You think you're safe because you only read. You think curiosity is free. Check your phone. Go ahead. I'll wait. Do you see the message? No. Look closer. Check your other inbox. Your spam folder. That random Discord DM from someone with no profile pic. You watch the surface. Want to see what lies beneath? It starts there. It always starts there. You've already clicked once. Now ask yourself, when the question comes, which one dies? I ordered a McDonald's themed mystery box from the dark web. It contained a Happy Meal toy from 1999 with my name engraved on it. Yo, what's up? So I know how this is gonna sound. Probably fake, exaggerated, like some horror creepypasta from a 2008 forum. But I swear, on everything I've got, this really happened. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm not gonna hit you with that "I'm just a normal guy" intro either. You'll figure out who I am by the end of this. Just listen. This story is still messing with my head. Every time I hear the McDonald's jingle, I feel sick to my stomach. So it all started about 2 months ago. I was stuck in one of those late night YouTube spirals. You know the ones. 3 a.m., eyes dry, energy drink in hand. Just watching those, I bought a mystery box from the dark web videos. I always thought they were fake as hell. Like, come on, a haunted doll that screams at midnight. A clown mask with blood on it. Yeah, alright. But then I started wondering, what if just one of those boxes was legit? Like really real? That's when the ad popped up. No lie. It wasn't even a regular sketchy deep web link or something. It was a TikTok. Some dude wearing a Ronald McDonald mask, holding up a greasy, yellowed Happy Meal box, and whispering, "Only one left. If you know, link in bio." I clicked the link without even thinking. Dumb. I know. I should have just gone to sleep. But I was bored, curious, and a little high. And you know what they say about curiosity, right? It didn't just kill the cat. It ripped it apart, shoved it into a plaster red box, and sent it via UPS Express with no return label. The site was bare bones, just a black background with golden arches glitching in the center, like some old VHS static overlay. The product was called Mc99, the final toy. No description, no reviews, just a buy now button and a price. $66.66 edgy. I bought it anyway. What's $60, right? Fast forward 4 days later. I'm home, chilling in my little one-bedroom apartment in Chicago, scrolling through Instagram, and I hear a knock at the door. Not the buzzer. A knock. Like someone walked up to my third-floor apartment door and just tapped twice. There's no one there, but on the welcome mat, there's a McDonald's Happy Meal box. No tape, no packaging, no postage. Just there. And it stank, like fryer grease and cigarette ash, with this underlying sweet rot that smelled like syrup left in the sun. I brought it inside, placed it on my desk, and just stared at it for a while. Something about it made my skin crawl, like that feeling you get when you're being watched, except it was coming from the box. I opened it. Inside was a single toy. You know those old school McDonald's Happy Meal toys from the 90s? This one looked like the Hamburglar, but off his smile was too wide. His eyes were scratched out, not painted, like they were scraped clean with something sharp. There were little reddish smudges around the sockets, and in his left hand, instead of the normal little burger or whatever he used to hold, there was a tiny fork. Real metal, not a toy piece. I flipped it over. That's when I saw it, etched into the bottom in tiny jittery letters. For my name, 1999. My full name, spelled right, even the middle name, which no one ever uses. I was 4 years old in 1999. At first, I thought it was just some messed up prank. Maybe one of my friends got bored and wanted to freak me out, but the more I thought about it, the less sense that made. This was a toy from an era before digital printers, before custom Etsy shops and 3D printers were mainstream. The plastic was old, cracked, yellowed like it had been sitting in a dusty attic for 20 years, and the etching wasn't recent. It had that same aged grime embedded in the grooves. I threw it in the closet and tried to forget about it. That night, I had the worst dream I've had since I was a kid. I was in a McDonald's, but it was empty. No customers, no employees, just that eerie pop music playing quietly from unseen speakers. The booths were all turned to face the back of the room, toward the play place entrance. And the play place wasn't a jungle gym. It was a mouth. A gaping red tunnel shaped like a clown's mouth, stretching back into total darkness. And standing in front of it, holding that same Hamburglar toy, was me. Except not me. This version of me had grease-slicked hair and a paper Happy Meal crown stapled into their scalp. I couldn't see their eyes. They were just black pits. They raised the toy and opened their mouth and whispered, "I never left." I woke up with ketchup smeared on my hands. I live alone. No ketchup in the fridge. Look, I know how this all sounds. Crazy, like a creepypasta cliche. But I'm telling you now, that box started something, because that was just the beginning. The toy moved. I didn't see it happen. But the next morning, it was out of the closet, sitting on my kitchen table, facing me, and taped to its little fork was a photo, a printed Polaroid of me at a McDonald's birthday party, age 4. I remember that party. I had a meltdown because the mascot scared me, and I threw a milkshake at Grimace. But there in the corner of the photo, I swear to God, someone was watching from the play place tunnel. Someone in a Hamburglar mask. I've never seen that person before in my life. That's when the messages started. I'll get into that next time. I didn't tell anyone about the photo. I didn't post it. I didn't text it to a friend. I shoved it into a drawer under a stack of takeout menus and tried to pretend nothing was wrong. I tried to go to work the next morning like a functioning human being, grabbed my jacket, swiped through my notifications, shoved earbuds in, and walked toward the L like I always do. But the second my train pulled out of the station, my phone buzzed with a notification I didn't recognize. Not Messenger, not Instagram, not Discord. Just a blank white bubble with no icon, no name, no timestamp. It contained a single image. A Starbucks, my Starbucks, the one I go to every morning for a vanilla cold brew and a warmed up bacon Gouda. The picture was taken from behind the counter, like from the employee side, and the barista in the shot was handing a cup across the counter with my name written on it. Except the name wasn't written in Sharpie, like normal. It was carved, etched into the paper cup so deeply the cardboard curled outward, and sitting on top of the lid was the Hamburglar toy. But what made my stomach twist wasn't the toy, it was the barista. Her face was blurred, not like a camera blur, but smeared, like someone dragged their fingers across the photo while it was still soft. Her eyes were two stretched white streaks. Her mouth was a black line that ran all the way to her ear. I stared at that photo the entire ride. Every stop, every announcement, every cough from the guy across from me felt miles away, like I was underwater watching a world I wasn't part of anymore. A second message popped up as the train neared my stop. This time, it was text. "You forgot something." That's when I smelled it. Fryer grease. Thick, clinging, impossible in the middle of a morning commute. It coated the air around me like hot fog. No one else reacted, not even the woman next to me scrolling TikTok like nothing was wrong. Then I looked down. The Hamburglar toy sat between my shoes, not in my bag, not in my pocket, not anywhere it could have fallen from, just sitting there on the grimy train floor, its little plastic fork raised as if pointing at me. I kicked it away so hard it skidded across the train and hit the metal divider with a clack. A guy looked up at me like I'd lost it. Maybe I had. When the train stopped, I bolted out. I ran up the stairs 2 at a time and straight into the Starbucks because, stupid as it was, I needed to see if the barista was okay, or real, or alive. I don't even know what I expected, but the moment I walked in, every head in the place turned toward me. Not in a friendly, "Hey customer," way, in an already waiting for you way. The barista stopped mid-pour. A UPS driver froze with his scanner in midair. A girl at a table lowered her frappuccino like she'd been caught. Every single person watched me in dead, silent stillness. And then, as if rehearsed, they all looked toward the pickup counter. I followed their gaze. There was a cup sitting there, alone, steaming, my name carved into the paper, the edges crushed inward like whoever carved it was trembling uncontrollably. The cardboard was wet, not from condensation, not from spilled coffee, from something sticky, dark. I didn't go closer. I didn't touch it. I didn't want to know. I just backed out of the Starbucks, nearly tripping over someone's dog, and sprinted down the block like something was behind me. When I finally forced myself to stop, chest burning, hands shaking, I checked my phone again. Another picture. This time, it wasn't a Starbucks. It was my apartment hallway, taken from inside the building, from right outside my door. There was something on the floor in the picture, something I didn't remember leaving there. I zoomed in. It was a Happy Meal box, a different one, older, grease-stained, warped like it had been left in a hot attic for decades. A new message blinked underneath it. "Open me before I open you." The moment I read that, I heard a sound from my pocket. Not a phone notification. A rattle. Plastic clicking against plastic. I reached into my jacket with hands that didn't feel like mine. The Hamburglar toy was back in my pocket, but it wasn't the same. The fork wasn't metal anymore. It was something sharper, thinner, almost translucent, like a broken off piece of bone. And the toy's mouth was wider than any toy's mold should allow. The plastic looked stretched, like it learned how to smile. I threw the thing into the nearest trash can and kept walking, but every reflective surface I passed, store windows, tinted cars, even a puddle by a storm drain, I saw the same thing, a shape standing just behind me, tall, striped like the Hamburglar, face blurred, head tilted the exact same way as the barista in the photo, watching, never moving, waiting. When I reached my apartment building again, the Happy Meal box was still there, but it wasn't closed. It was open, and inside was something that made every hair on my body stand up. Something small and ordinary and impossible. My apartment key, the spare one, the one I kept in a shoebox in the back of my closet, inside an envelope labeled emergency only. I reached toward it, but before my fingers touched the box, my phone buzzed with one last message. A video. I didn't want to open it, but it opened on its own. The footage was filmed from inside my apartment, from my bedroom, facing my bed. The covers were pulled back, and something was lying there. Something wearing my clothes, something breathing, slow, deep breaths, like it was asleep. As the camera moved closer, the thing on my bed whispered, barely audible, but perfectly clear. I never left. I didn't go inside. At first, I just stood in the hallway, staring at my apartment door like it wasn't a door anymore, but a mouth, open, waiting, teeth behind it. The hallway lights flickered once, then again, each flicker illuminating that warped Happy Meal box beside the door like it was breathing with the building. My key, the stolen key, rested inside like bait. My phone buzzed again. Not a message. A calendar notification I never set. Bedtime routine. 11:11 p.m. Come home. I checked the time. It was 11:11 p.m. exactly. No matter how many times I blinked, that number didn't change. The door to my apartment eased open by itself. Just a crack. Just enough for warm air to spill out, carrying a smell I recognized instantly. Not blood, not rot, not anything cinematic or dramatic. It smelled like the play place from my childhood plastic. Warm carpet, that weird sweet smell of dried ketchup, and the faintest trace of chlorine from when they cleaned the ball pit. Once a year, I didn't want to go in, but something behind me shifted in the stairwell. A creak, slow, heavy, like someone wearing wet shoes. I stepped inside before I could stop myself. The air felt wrong immediately, too thick, like someone had been breathing in there for hours with no windows open. My couch cushions were slightly dented, as if someone had been sitting on them. My kitchen chair was turned toward the hallway. The TV remote was on the floor, face down, like it had been knocked out of a hand, and my bedroom door was half open. Light spilled through the crack, yellow light, outdated, like the buzz of a fast food bathroom fixture. I don't own a yellow bulb. I took one step down the hall, and the breathing started. Slow, deep, rhythmic. Not sleep breathing, not peaceful. The kind of breathing people do when they're pretending to be asleep, but listening. Waiting. I pushed the door open. The thing in my bed was lying on its side, facing the wall, wrapped in my sheets, wearing my clothes, my hoodie, my sweatpants, even my socks. One of the socks was on inside out. Its hair was the same length as mine, same color, same messy curls, but the head was wrong, just slightly too long at the back. like the skull had been stretched, pulled, molded into shape by hands that didn't understand how human heads fit together. The breathing hitched, just once, like it heard me. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't even swallow. Then my phone vibrated softly in my hand, like it wanted to warn me. A new message from that blank white bubble. Just 2 words. Tuck me. The thing in the bed curled its fingers. Not all at once, one at a time, like it was testing how my muscles worked, trying to get them right. The blankets rose and fell with that horrible pretend sleep breathing. And then, without turning around, without moving a single other part of its body, it whispered, "You forgot the toy." Every nerve in my body fired at once. I stumbled backward, hit the wall, nearly dropped my phone. The whisper came again, clearer this time, in my voice, but wrong, higher, strained, like a kid doing an impression of an adult. "Where's my toy?" I ran. I didn't think. Didn't grab shoes, didn't lock the door, didn't even take my keys. I sprinted down the hallway barefoot, slammed into the elevator doors, and jabbed the button over and over like it would save me. The elevator dinged immediately. It shouldn't have. It's always slow. But this time, the door slid open. The second my finger touched the button, inside, on the floor, sat the Hamburglar toy, upright, waiting. The fork wasn't bone this time. It was something longer, thinner, bent at a strange angle, something like a wire pulled from the inside of an old vending machine, flecked with dust, and something dark I didn't want to identify. I stepped back from the elevator. I couldn't make myself get in. The doors slowly closed. Right before they met, the toy's head tilted. Not mechanically, not from the elevator moving. It tilted like a person nodding, like it acknowledged me. I ran down the stairs instead, nearly falling twice, and burst out of the building into the cold night air. I didn't stop running until I'd reached the next block. My chest felt like it was being crushed. Every window above me felt like an eye. Every shadow felt like it was tracking me. I didn't know where to go. So I went where anyone goes when they're terrified and alone at night. A McDonald's. The only place open at that hour was one of those 24-hour locations. Neon lights humming, drive-through backed up with bored teenagers and night shift workers. I stepped inside and immediately regretted it. The entire restaurant was empty. Not a single customer, not a single employee. The fries were on, the soda machine fizzed, the menu screens looped through their animations, but the place was deserted. Then the intercom crackled above me. The speaker near the ceiling hissed like someone exhaling directly into the mic. "Welcome back." My legs locked. The voice wasn't Ronald, wasn't a mascot, wasn't even human. It was the voice from my dream, the one wearing the crown stapled into its scalp. I backed toward the door, but the lock clicked, loud, metal, final. Then I heard it. Soft footsteps behind the counter, dragging something across tile, not walking, sliding. Something stood up slowly. A shadow stretched across the floor, tall, striped, head cocked to the side. In that same broken barista way, I pressed my back against the door, palms sweating, breath shaking so hard I thought I might pass out. The shadow didn't move at first. Then it raised an arm and dangled something from its hand. My hoodie, the one I was wearing in the bed. The intercom crackled again, voice dropping into a slow, warped whisper. "You left me, but I came anyway." The figure stepped out from behind the counter, and I finally saw its face. Not human, not plastic, not mask. Something between all three. A face, molded around a smile too wide to be real. Eyes smoothed over like melted wax, skin striped in places like fabric had been fused to it. Its jaw unhinged slightly, not dropping open, just stretching, like it was practicing, trying to match mine. Then it spoke with my voice, my exact voice. Come tuck me in. I don't remember deciding to move. My body just did. 1 second, I was frozen against the locked McDonald's door, staring at the thing wearing my voice, my clothes, my shape. And the next, I was vaulting over the nearest table, knocking chairs to the tile, slipping on spilled soda as I scrambled toward the back hallway where the employees only sign flickered in sickly blue. The creature didn't chase me, not immediately. It just watched, head tilted, smile widening, so gradually it barely looked like movement, like it was learning. I slammed through the hallway door and found myself in the service corridor. You know that weird back area every fast food place has? Cheap tile, stacks of boxes, humming freezers, like the guts of the building. It was colder back there, the kind of cold that stiffens your fingers instantly. The humming of the walk-in freezer vibrated through the walls. Condensation dripped from a pipe overhead. I pressed myself against the wall and listened. Silence. Not even footsteps. Then, a faint tapping, barely audible, like fingertips brushing the counter. 1, 2. Pause. 1, 2, 3. A pattern. Patient. Almost cheerful. I didn't wait for it to get closer. I bolted down the hallway, past mop buckets and crates of frozen nuggets, into the break room. The fluorescent light buzzed above me, flickering erratically, like it couldn't decide whether to stay alive. The smell hit next. Not rot, not blood. A smell like old coins rubbed together, metallic, stale. And underneath that, something strangely familiar. Plasticky scent of brand new toys, the kind sealed in those little crinkly bags. My throat tightened. On the break room table sat a laptop. Its screen was on. I hadn't turned it on. The restaurant was empty. No one should have been logged in. But the screen displayed a video call window, a camera feed, my bedroom, the bed, the thing in my bed, except it wasn't lying down anymore. It was sitting upright, legs draped over the side of the mattress, head slightly tilted, like it had just noticed the laptop had turned on. My hoodie hung off its frame strangely, the shoulders too wide, the sleeves too short, like the body beneath wasn't shaped correctly, for clothes meant for me. Then it lifted something into view. My spare phone charger, the one from my nightstand. It ran the cord slowly across its cheek, like it was feeling the texture. My stomach lurched. Behind me, the tapping started again. Closer. 1, 2. Pause. 1, 2, 3. I turned off the laptop screen and backed into the hallway, heartbeat slamming so loudly I thought the creature would hear it and mimic it. The tapping stopped. The silence didn't feel empty. It felt full, like someone holding their breath behind a door. The corridor stretched on forever as I crept forward. The overhead light fizzed out completely, leaving only the glow from the emergency exit sign at the end of the hall. Halfway down, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I froze. The blank white bubble again. A text. 1 sentence. Stop running. You'll tear. 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 What? My throat tightened as I typed back without thinking. What do you want from me? The reply came instantly. You. Another message. The first version. I didn't understand. But then, from the dark end of the hall, came a soft, shaky sob. My sob. My exact voice. Crying. I backed away and bumped into something behind me. Not a person, not the creature. something solid and cold. The freezer door, its metal surface fogged at the bottom, like something warm had leaned against it recently. The sobbing grew louder, and over it faintly, the intercom crackled from the dining area. Time to come home. I spun around and shoved through the door at the end of the hall, bursting into the stockroom. Shelves towered over me, stacked with sealed boxes labeled with dates and distribution centers. A lone security camera blinked in the corner, its red light steady, but the monitor beneath it flickered to life. My apartment hallway. Except, other doors were open. Doors that didn't exist. Stairwells that shouldn't connect. A hallway that twisted wrong, like it had been stretched and rearranged. And standing directly outside my unit door was the warped Happy Meal box from earlier. It wasn't empty anymore. Something moved inside it. A small hand. Not plastic. Not human. Something in between. Fingers too long. Joints bending the wrong way. Soft scraping sounds from cardboard dragging on tile as it slowly pushed its way out. I stumbled backward and hit a stack of boxes. One toppled, bursting open across the floor. Dozens of sealed Happy Meal toys spilled out. Not from the 90s, not from any decade. These toys had no faces, no molded eyes, no logos, just smooth, blank plastic heads, like someone had melted the features away, and every single one of them was turned toward me. The fluorescent lights overhead dimmed, humming lower, vibrating the metal shelves like something heavy was climbing on top of them. Then, from somewhere above me, came a whisper. Not in my voice. Not in the creature's voice. A third voice. Low. Calm. Wrong. You're almost ready. I didn't look up. I ran. I smashed through the fire exit into the alley behind the building, cold air slapping my face so hard it made my eyes water. The alley was empty, but on the opposite wall, spray painted in dripping yellow, were the words, "Only one may return." A small object sat beneath it, on the pavement, a smartphone. My smartphone, but mine was in my pocket. I picked up the second phone with shaking hands. Its screen lit up. A recording. I pressed play. It was me, standing in my bedroom. Except, the me in the video didn't move like me, didn't breathe like me, didn't blink right. They smiled at the camera with an expression too steady to be real. Then they said, in a voice flat as a drive-through speaker, "Part of you stayed behind in 1999. We're just bringing the rest back." The video ended abruptly, screen going black. Behind me, a soft shovel sounded in the alley gravel. Not one creature, not one set of footsteps. Two, both moving in perfect sync. The alley was too quiet, not nighttime quiet, wrong quiet, like the city had paused itself, like Chicago was holding its breath. The two sets of footsteps behind me stopped at the same time, perfectly matched. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. My legs felt wired wrong, like the signals weren't making it all the way down from my brain anymore. My phone buzzed in my pocket. My real phone, not the duplicate I was still clutching in my other hand. A notification from the blank white app. Stop moving. I froze. The footsteps behind me resumed slow, measured, soft crushing sounds of gravel under something. Whatever they were, they weren't in a rush. They moved like they had all the time in the world. The street lamp at the mouth of the alley flickered, casting long shadows that jerked across the walls, shadows that didn't match anything visible. Then a third shadow appeared, tall, centered behind me, head tilted at that familiar broken angle. Not a creature, not a person, not me. Something in between all three. The same height as me, the same outline as me, but hollow in places, like someone had tried to copy a shape and didn't understand what should fill it. My breath fogged in the cold air. Its breath didn't. A voice behind me whispered, not right in my ear, but close enough. Come back. I didn't turn around. I stared at the far end of the alley, where the street lamps glowed and traffic hummed, where the city felt normal, alive, real, except cars weren't moving, not one. They were frozen in place, like toys on a shelf. A bus sat in the turn lane, with its blinker frozen mid-flash. A couple stood at the crosswalk, holding hands, unmoving. Even the steam rising from the manhole cover climbed a few inches and held there, suspended in mid-air. Something had stopped the city, or maybe just stopped me inside it. Another notification blinked open on the blank white app. Don't turn around. We're not finished shaping yet. Shaping what? Me? Or the things behind me? My fingers shook as I typed. What are you? For a moment, the app was silent. Then, the rest of you. Cold washed through my spine, like someone had poured ice water into my bones. I swallowed hard and typed again. Why now? Why after all these years? The reply came slower this time, almost thoughtful. We lost you. You grew incorrectly. You split. I didn't understand. I didn't want to. Behind me, something shifted. A soft cracking sound, like joints adjusting, like someone forcing a posture that wasn't meant for them. Then the taller shadow moved closer. Very close. I felt the air change behind me. Cooler in patches, warmer in others, like the thing couldn't regulate temperature the way a person did. The smaller shadow beside it made a soft clicking noise, like plastic tapping on stone. The Happy Meal toy. I could feel it watching. My phone buzzed again. A new message. You were left with the wrong half. We came for the original. Wrong half. Original? I typed. I'm the original. The app responded immediately. Look. The duplicate phone in my other hand vibrated so violently I almost dropped it. Its screen brightened, showing a live camera feed. My apartment, the bed, the thing sitting on it. But this time, it wasn't alone. On the floor in front of it, facing the camera, knees pulled to their chest, was me, or someone who looked exactly like me. Eyes wide, breathing fast, terrified. The version on screen whispered, "It's me. I swear it's me. Please don't let them pick wrong." My heart stopped. The me on screen wasn't mimicking anything. It wasn't moving wrong, wasn't speaking wrong, wasn't shaped wrong. It looked like me. Exactly every freckle, every scar, every weird asymmetry in my face. Even the chipped tooth I got when I was 10. I stared at the screen, my breath turning shallow. The me on the floor reached toward the camera with trembling hands. "Please," they whispered. "I remember everything. You have to believe me." They took the rest of me. The part that kept the memories. The part that didn't. Fracture. My throat tightened so hard it hurt. I whispered aloud without meaning to. "Then what am I?" Behind me, the tall shadow leaned close enough that cold breath brushed the back of my neck. The intercom voice, the one from my dream, the one from the McDonald's, spoke right behind my ear. The copy. My vision tunneled. My knees buckled. The city lights flickered. I wasn't the original, not the one who walked out of the McDonald's birthday party in 1999. Not the one who grew up, not the one who lived my memories. I was the leftover half, a version grown wrong, shaped wrong, animated by whatever they'd taken. I stumbled into the street, past the frozen cars, the paused people, into a world that suddenly felt too big for me. My phone buzzed one more time. The final message. We're taking the first one. You may stay, or you may unravel. I turned around, slowly, because I had to know, because I couldn't run from myself anymore. Standing behind me were the two shadows, and between them, something stepped forward. A person, my height, my face, my clothes, except it wasn't scared like the version in the video, and it wasn't wrong like the creature in the McDonald's. It was perfect. Every detail, every blink, every breath, the version of me that should have existed, the version they came to retrieve. It smiled at me, not cruelly, not kindly, but with something like pity. Then it said in my voice, "Thank you for keeping my life warm." And the city lights snapped back on. Cars moved, people walked. The world resumed as if nothing had paused, but the perfect version of me and the shadows beside it were gone. Only the faint smell of warm plastic lingered. I looked down. The Happy Meal toy sat at my feet. Its fork was gone. In its place was a tiny yellow slip of paper tucked into its hand. I unfolded it with trembling fingers. One sentence. "Only one of you made it back."